Hi, and welcome to another episode of 8-Bit Retro Refix. And on this week's episode, we've got pulled out 4 Commodore 64Cs that don't work. I've got 2 of them that have got black screen. This one is actually one that I converted to Ntsc earlier, but I had to steal the Ntsc VIC chip to put it into my SX. So this one's no longer working and I don't have a spare Ntsc VIC. So because I haven't got an Ntsc VIC, I need to convert this back to PAL, and to do that I need to take its 14 MHz clock crystal and replace it with this 17 MHz clock crystal for the PAL. So I'm going to do that first, and then at least I can have a look, because I know this one worked. I can see if I can pull the chips about and swap them around and see what's going on, see if I can get the other ones working. So I've pulled out this Ntsc one first, and I've pulled out that one at the back there. I know that one works. I got that one from Alex off Facebook. I think he said that the tape port doesn't work, everything else does. So that'll be a good one, just to be able to fetch a chip over to make this one, to make sure that this one's working. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take these screws out now. There's only a couple of clips on these ones. There's 3 screws in the other ones. Once I've got the tops off, I'll come back to you and we'll continue showing you what to do with that clock crystal to convert it back to PAL. Okay, so I'm just going to do that now and I'll be right back. So as you can see, I've pulled them 2 boards out and we've got a long board in the Ntsc one, which I thought were a short board. Shows how long ago that was. It was actually well over a year ago since I changed this to an Ntsc, and I put this into a C case, which I've not realised. But I still want to change that clock crystal out that's just here. As you can see in there, so as you can see in there, that's the Ntsc clock crystal at 14 MHz that changed a long time ago. So what I want to do is pull that out, and we're going to put the original clock crystal that was in there back in. It's a 17 MHz one, and I'll pop in a VIC and just make sure that this board's working again. It was working before until I pinched the VIC chip. The VIC chips are different as far as I'm aware. These are a 65R2 video chip. I'm not sure if they're compatible or not. But I have got some VICs, so I'm going to stick that one in there. This one is out of Alex's one, so we're just going to give it a bit of a clean up and we'll have a test of this this tape port. And we'll see what's going on with this one when we plug it in. But first, what I want to do is, like I said, we'll change this crystal out. So I'm just going to warm up the equipment and then we'll get that swapped. So the desolder station's warmed up now. You can see here, it's a bit difficult to see on camera really, but there's 2 big holes there and a big one at the top there. These 2 little ones at the bottom here are the 2 ones for the clock. So I'm just going to put a little bit of flux on them ones, and we'll clear that hole out at the top. And I'm going to clear out the hole in the middle, and we'll give them some earths. Because for some reason this has a little wire on it, so I'm going to use that wire as well. So here we go. Oops, very small little pin, them, and we'll cut them off short and clear that one. And try and clear that one as well. Might take a bit of warming that because it's a bit of a big ground plane. I'll go from the top as well. I didn't put any flux on that one, so I'm going to do that as well. So that's free. I'm using the little screwdriver and see if I can help that out. It'll come out. It's only loose. You know, I'll just pick it up with the chip puller. There we go, she's out. There you go. So that's that clock crystal out. So we don't need that anymore, we'll pop that over there. We need to clear these holes out now. So it doesn't really need that top hole, we just need to clear the bottom 3 holes. Bit of flux on there, let's see if we can get that out of the middle, that hole. Looks like it's come clear. I'll just turn this board round. I'll keep the light for you. It's a bit difficult to see. So you can see now, look. You can see right there, all them 3 holes there are now clear, which is what these 3 little pins on the clock crystal is going to go in. So we're going to just feed them in now, if I can do that off the cam. Is that in as well? I think so. So what I'm going to do, just to keep that in place, I've got a little bit of Smurf poo. I'm going to slide that underneath the clock crystal chip and just squash it into the chip. Crystal, if you like. Just so it can hold it in place. And we can have a look at the other side of the board then when I find it. I find it, there we are, look, they're just up here. So them 3 are poking through there now. And we can solder them up. So that's what I'm going to do now. Just solder them 3 points. Let's see if I can zoom in. It does get a little bit bitty on the screen. If I turn this light up, it might help for you. See if I can zoom in anymore. Oh, yep, we can see that now, can't we? So I'm just putting a soldering gun. I'll call it a soldering gun, don't I? But it's an iron. This is solder. A little bit of flux. Hopefully the iron's good to go. Yeah, that's good. So should be just be able to touch that on that pin. Just put a bit of blower solder on and it grabs it. And I should be able to do the same on that one. Bit of solder. And it should go. There you go, look. See it jump straight on? I should be able to do the same with that pin. Add a little bit of solder. And if we get a bridge, we'll fix it. That looks a bit rough in that middle, doesn't it? One. Close that one up. Close that one. I'd like it to go right down the other side, but I can't get it to do, and I've probably bridged them now. Right, so that looks a mess and they're bridged. So what I'm going to do now is just take my desolder station again and I'm just going to dump it over that one. If I switched it on. Just clean that one up. With the soldering iron in again. Just touch them areas up. Got a bit of solder on this one. We didn't really want any on there, but so I'm just going to go in and touch that up. looks better. I'm just put a little blob of solder on the end of my iron. Just touch that one, and that should be done. It's better. So I can turn the desolder station off now. Turn my iron off. And what I'm going to do is just grab my meter and do a continuity test over them pins and make sure they're not touching together. Commonly known as buzzing it out. So you can hear the beep beep. No, no, that's good. No, 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 no. That one will do because I touched there. But yeah, they're not connected them, are they? Nope, nope, good, good, good. Just going to clean that one up a little bit more, so I'll turn iron back on. There's just a little bit much solder on there, so all I'm doing is with the cleaned off iron, I'm just touching the solder points so it'll suck some solder onto the iron. Should make it a cleaner joint then. It's better. So just to be methodical, because I've touched them up again, we're going to do another buzz out test. Very quickly this time, just to make sure. Yeah, nothing. That's fine. So that's good. Right, so that's just clock crystal in. We can now just happily just bend that up. Take the poo out of the back and bend that back down and just push it into place. It'll be fine like that. And what we've got here is I've got a 6569 R5, which I'm going to put into here. So that should be that. So that's that board finished. What I want to do is just take away this Ntsc off top of the board here. So this should just wash off, hopefully, with a bit of ISO. That's cleaned off there. A bit of isopropyl. Just clean off around these points here where we've been soldering. It is no clean flux that I use, but you know, nothing wrong with cleaning. We'll take the flux off the board, haven't we? Good, that's that done. So that's that board finished. That's all that needed. So I'm going to pop that over to the place where I normally check the Commodore 64s and just make sure that that fires up and that's working. And then we're going to plug this other board in, which is a 250469 board. This is one from Alex. As you can see, cassette ports look really rough, so I might just clean them up first. Yeah, they're looking a bit rough on there, aren't they? So I'll give them cassette ports a clean first before we go over there. Let's just set that one to one side up there for a minute. And let's get these cassette ports cleaned. Right, what I use for these, because they're gold plated, a lot of people won't like it because it's very abrasive, but I use Brasso. It stinks. It stinks, but it cleans them up very well. Just clean them off with some isopropyl alcohol afterwards and you'll be absolutely fine. So I've just put a real little drop in the cap. I'm just going to get a cotton bud. So you'll see that I'm not doing it too harsh, too hard. See if I can pan the camera in a little bit for you. And you can see how bad they are, can't you? So all I'm going to do is get a bit on here. And I'm just going to work on that one. See how much it comes straight off, look. I know it's got ammonia in, I know it eats. This is why we clean it off afterwards. But this stuff fetches the muck right off. If you see these and they get really pitted, what you can do is flow some solder onto it and then use some solder wick to take all the solder off as much as you can, and it should fill in them little pit marks, little pots. So that's that bit done. That cassette port looks really rough. And see how well they're cleaning up. Looking really nice out the look. I'm just going to continue cleaning them and then I'll do other side as well. I'll show you when I get all this off and clean it with ISO. You'll see how clean these are. So I've got the isopropyl alcohol now. I'm just going to go back over these now and clean them with that. Just make sure you get it out of that slot as well, if you do get any in there. See how clean there I've come now, look. Mint. Very, very clean now. Other side to do, clean off. Right. So that's that done. You can see how clean them are now. Shiny like new. So now them ports are done, we'll take that over to where I normally test the Commodore 64s. And we'll just make sure these two boards fire up and work properly, and then I might have a look into these other two Commodore 64Cs that I've got black screens. At least this one I've got a video chip that's done the SID chips. SID chips, okay, socketed should I say. The VIC chips socketed too, so we can have a look at them. Swap them out if we need to. Sometimes it's a SID, you just pull the SID and they work. But anyway, let's get over to the place where I normally check the Commodores out. We'll check these two boards, make sure these are both working, and then we'll proceed and have a look at these other two Commodore 64Cs that are black screens. So I've just checked this one. It switches on, I hear the pulse from the swing SID pinging to come on. I can hear the screen pulse and then I get a black screen. So I can only presume that one of the other chips have gone down. It's been a while since I've used this one, so we'll need to look into this one a little bit further to see why it's got a black screen on it. Never as simple as what you think, is it? So I'm just going to check this other one now, the one which is Alex's board that didn't work on the tape deck. And let's see if that starts up. Right, we've got everything going. Let's switch this one on. And it switches on. The tape deck fast forwards and rewinds. So I'm just going to grab a tape now and let's see what happens. See if we can get this to load, or start to load it even. Got that right. So let's see if this... Oh, I can't get it. Need a keyboard. 2 seconds. Right, so we're back on. We've got his keyboard plugged in. We've got his tape in. I'm going to hit shift and unstop, which brings up the load screen, and pressing play. And let's see what happens. Hopefully we'll get a found. Might just take a few seconds before it comes on. And we've found Gemini Wing. It's crashed. But we can see that it is loading. The tape deck is working on that one. Just try the other quickly. You'll try the other side of the tape because you just never know. We'll try again. And we'll fast forward, skip a little bit so you don't have to do all this waiting. Just come back up again now. Yeah, it crashed last time because now it's continuing to load. And I've pressed the space bar. See if we can get some rolling lines soon. Yeah, so the one from Alex that I got, it seems to be that it was just dirt on the cartridge, on the tape port cartridge, on the tape port that's not working. So at least we can see that the tape port's working okay. Keyboard seems to be functioning. That game's loading. What I'm going to do is just stop that loading for a minute, rewind the cassette, and we'll see what it does with the cartridge. Cartridge port works okay. Jupiter Lander's working fine. So we know the cartridge port works okay. So now I've just tested that. I'm just going to take that cartridge out because we don't need it. I have a 1541 Ultimate. See if there's anything on here. This is just to test the data bus line for the disk drive. I just want to try and load a to test new Donkey Kong. So what I'm going to do is mount disk, so it makes it think I'm mounting it to a 1541. So I'll mount the disk, I'm going to hit fast load, and then I'm going to do the load command from disk drive. Ah, have we found the fault? Yeah. So we've found a fault on this board now. It seems like it's the disk drive port that's not interested and crashing on the disk port. So the only thing that can be is one of the CIA chips, which I won't be changing them on this week's video. So that's the end of them ones for now. So I'm just going to move on now and have a quick look at one of these other ones with a blank screen. It might be a dead video chip. We've got this board out here now so we can at least pull a chip to try it in the other ones to see what the other ones do. So I'm just going to go back over to the bench, pull them other ones to bits, and we'll have a look. Right, so this is the board that we've just tested with the dodgy one CIA chip. It's either that one or it's that one. So this one I'm just going to set to one side for a minute. This is one of the other boards that was giving me a black screen. What I did earlier is put the dead test cartridge into it. It gave me one flash, which tells me one flash is U11 on the screen there. So I'm presuming Rev E. We've got a Rev on here, we've got Rev 4. So A, B, C, D, E. So it's Rev 4, I suppose it'd be after, won't it? Doesn't have any Rev on the board anywhere. Oh, I'll tell you what I didn't do on that other board. The Ntsc conversion. I completely missed it out. So I'll go back to that and do that in a second. But you see down here at the bottom of this board here, I don't know if you can read that there. That says Open Ntsc Short PAL. The other board's got that on as well, but I just forgot to put the jumper back in. So I'll do that in a second. This one's showing up as U11 on the dead test cartridge, which is this RAM chip. So I'm going to pull that RAM chip out and swap it with another good one, which I know is right. One of my previous videos, I took these two out, didn't I? And I put like an FPGA, if you like, RAM kind of chip on there. So yeah, so we've got the two working RAM chips anyway. So I'm going to pull this one out after I've popped that pin back in there. So this is the other board that we were looking at, and if you look up there, it says up there, doesn't it? PAL short, Ntsc open, so we need to put a bridge wire between this little hole here and up to this point here. So that's what I'm going to do now. Right, so that's that jumper installed into there. We've done that, and for those of you with a sharp eye, you might notice that the earth wire on this clock crystal, I've taken it off, because when I put that jumper on, it's still doing the same thing, so I've just ripped that off, and then all of a sudden it booted back up. I've done that off screen. Video's long enough, I'm not going to show you again now, but that, seriously, that board is now one that's up and running and working again. So that one can go back into its case and be used again. So let's move back onto this U11 RAM chip. So we're back here with the 2569 board, which is the one that I tested out, and we found that the U11 is bad through the dead test cartridge. So I'm going to pull that out now, desolder that off that board, stick a socket in, and then I'll go and plug it back in and see if that works again. OCD getting better of me again, look, standing all these up. Right, so that's what I'm going to do. See if I've got a socket for that first. Right, so I found the socket for this chip, RAM chip. That should just go nicely into there. Straightened all the legs up and everything. So we're going to install this chip into U11 first, and then we'll test that one and see if that one works. So we've changed this chip, and it's changed from flashing 1 and telling us that it's U11, and then it's changed now to this chip here, which I have removed and I have soldered back in, and it's still coming up with that chip as being bad, which I can't see that being, because these two chips were perfectly fine when they took them out of the other ones, so I can't see that being that. So I'm suspecting that it could quite possibly be the PLA that's controlling the RAM that's throwing that around. But this video is getting a little bit too long at the moment, so we're going to have a pick up of this on the next week's video, and we'll see what we can get with these two boards. But we have got the other one board running again now, so that's all working fine and dandy. We've got this one now that we've been into, and we found out that it has got a bad CIA chip. So we're going to look into this one. I've changed the RAMs in this one now, and it's still giving us the same, so I'm presuming it's going to be like a PLA issue on this board. So what I might be tempted to do is pull the CIAs from this board and put them into the other board that's at the back here. So we might pull the two CIAs from this one and this one over here, and we'll swap them into this board and see if this board comes to life. I would suspect that really keyboard controllers over here, so that's going to be controlling the keyboard, etc. I really do think it's going to be this one over here, which is a 6526A, so we should have some of them kicking around. So I'm going to change that out next time. So I'm just going to leave them two boards there, and we'll pick up next week from where we left off today. And we've got a Rev 3 board and a Rev 4 board. Doesn't make much difference apart from a few little bits and pieces that's been changed around there. But I don't understand why these RAMs are still reporting as bad. The only thing that can be is, like I've just reiterated again, it could be the PLA that's causing that on this board. Quite possibly. It could even be one of the 74 logic chips that's up here as well that's controlling the RAM that could be throwing that out. But we'll come back to that in the next video. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you've learnt a little bit about, especially with the Ntsc conversion. So this one's back together now. This is the one that was Ntsc. This is Ntsc converted as a third of the first 20 across the top. You just can't quite see it on there. Can you see the red button? That was for a reset button at one time, but it's no longer connected. So I'm just going to test this now and just make sure it's all working. I'll go for Spy vs Spy and run this cartridge. You can see there that's Spy vs Spy that's loaded up. Just skip the spacebar and we're into the game, look. So yeah, this is the Ntsc, and that's all up and running back in PAL now. The other one needs a CIA chip putting in it, the other one needs diagnostics onto that other one, and we do have one more black screen that we can take a look at in next week's video, where we continue repairing these Commodore 64Cs. So, I hope you've really enjoyed this video. I hope you've learnt a little bit. I made a few mistakes, I don't mind showing that. So long as you guys learnt something from it, that'll do for me. Just remember, if you want to convert one of these to Ntsc, or even if you want to convert to PAL to Ntsc, or the other way around, whichever way you want to go, all you do is swap the VIC chips. There's two chips, you got the 6569, which is for the PAL, and the 67, which is the Ntsc. You change the clock crystals. The PAL ones are 17 megahertz ones, the other ones are 14 megahertz, or it might be the other way around, just look that up just to be 100%. And then it's changed that jumper, and that's pretty much it. So you guys over there that's got Ntsc systems, get a PAL VIC, chuck it in, change the crystal, put the jumper in, and you've got a PAL system. Back to the PAL, and that one's working. We've still got the other three to get through. Even if I make two out of the other three and get a good one going, that'll do for me. I can always use the spares from the other bits and pieces. I've got lots of other red bins and stuff that I need to get up and going. I've bought the 3D printer, so we can get repairing these cases. I'll show you how to 3D print them and show you what went into repairing the cases on one of the later videos. But let's get these 64s out of the way. So once again, thank you very much for watching another episode of 8-Bit Retro Refix, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye!